So this is the Timney trigger installed into a Glock 17 cutaway so that I can demonstrate some of the functionality, or at least make it easier to see. And there's plenty of other videos on this, but what you have is a receiver with a bar with a lug that is spring loaded to cause that to come up and down. And that is what's going to stop the firing pin in the slide rather than connecting with the trigger itself like it does on a normal Glock. The functionality is as the trigger comes back, it's going to hit the connector, which will push it down, and that causes the trigger bar to push down on the spring-loaded bar and release. The issue that I am really wanting to be sure gets pointed out here is the trigger bar itself is on the drop safety. There's no way to push that down. It's sitting there firmly. It looks a little different on the cutaway here, but it's sitting firmly on that ledge. However, even with all of the safeties fully engaged, this bar is only being held up by the strength of its own spring. So there is nothing to stop this as far as a drop safety goes, except for the weight of its spring. And as you will see, I'm gonna turn this around here. It actually takes very little force to move that spring. Now, once the slide is in place and the firing pin is going to be putting pressure on the back of that lug, so that you're going to get a little bit more resistance on it, but it's, as I'll demonstrate, it's not real significant. So I'm going to stop this, reassemble the slide, and show some additional. Okay, now you can see the engagement between the lug on the receiver of the Timney trigger and the firing pin lug on the Glock. And basically, as that comes back, it releases. Incredible trigger pull, but is going to have its issues. And the same thing will come around here. Again, you can see now, you can see the trigger bar and the connector interacting with each other, and then also the lug on the Timney and the lug on the firing pin. And as that drops, it comes off of there. The concern and issue for me is that it takes very little effort to cause that to drop when the trigger and all of the other safeties are still fully engaged. The other thing that that I'm seeing, and this is even in Johnny Glock's video at the 21:44 minute, something like that, but it's not unusual to get this to stick. And what's happening when it sticks is the trigger safety is pushing against the frame, and so you can pull this partial back. I'm not actually able to get it to do it right now, but it'll actually stick there. And at the point that it sticks, it's partially engaged the firing pin safety as well. It doesn't always stick at a point that that it's disabled it, but it is a concern that the return spring is not strong enough to always overcome the firing pin safety, the trigger safety pushing against the frame of the gun. And here's the demonstration. Again, it doesn't happen every time, a demonstration where the trigger was partially pulled to the back. So this is actually fully engaged with the trigger bar, but that return spring is not enough to overcome the pressure of the trigger safety against the frame, and so it does not return fully in. And you can see it's partially engaged with the firing pin safety at this point. In conclusion, I think my assessment is going to be very similar to others in that I'm impressed that Timney came up with something new and different and innovative. So super kudos to them. I don't think this is the final rendition. I think this still needs some work, because as people are handling them and dropping them stuff, I think we're going to see some accidental discharges from this trigger. So to me, this is absolutely in no way, shape, or form should be a self-defense carry trigger, but should be kept to competition guns, range guns, which I absolutely intend to use it in one, but I'm going to be super careful with it.